Guys, so now we're gonna roll out our dough and measure it out into equal bowls, okay, using a digital scale. And this digital scale here has grams, units, ounces. So we're gonna be working with grams today. All right, so turn it on. This is a really cool one I got from Amazon a while back. It was a couple dollars. I think it was about $8. So it's already on grams. I'm gonna weigh this. So you see here, it's about 588-ish grams. So we want to get 12 discs out of here. So we're going to aim for about, a little less than 50 per ball, around 47, 48 grams each. Okay. So let's take the plastic off. Let's move this to the side here. Okay. And then I'm going to. All right. So before I get this stuff for myself, I want to get some flour. Okay. Put a little on the side here to reserve. And then before I take it out, I want to flour everything I'm using, my hands, maybe a little bit here. Whatever you're using to roll with. I like to use a small dowel. I actually use these for like other things like wonton wrappers and things like that. But you want to take some flour and just, get it really floured up so it won't stick, okay? Put that off to the side. All right, now we'll kind of flip this guy over, so as not to get it stuck, because you don't want this wet part to hit the dry, okay, wood or whatever surface you're working on. Ideally, if you have a nice expensive marble countertop, you could use that. All right, so like I said, we want to get around 50 grams or less. So like I said, this one's about 588 grams. So let's kind of eyeball it at first. And like I said before, if you don't have, make sure to flour this if you're using it. If you don't have a digital scale at home, no worries, just we'll eyeball it, okay? So we're gonna start by eyeballing it first. So I'm gonna cut it in half, okay? Then we'll cut it in half again. All right, and then we'll cut the halves in halves. I like to make maybe like pizza, so we wanna do 3 from each here, so make them even, okay? If you look at the discs that you buy, the Goya discs, they're about the same ounceage. They're about 56 grams, the big ones, and the small ones are a little under 50, like 48-ish or so. All right, so let me get these guys a little floured up so they're not sticking. But you see that nice color that we've got in there, okay? You can see how after a couple of days, some air puffed it up. It's going to be a nice dough when it's finished, okay? So let's see what this guy is. It's about 44ish, maybe. Let's see, if you have where one piece is too small, just test a few pieces. That's 53. So we'll take a little bit off of this guy, add him to this guy here, and just ball them up. Don't squeeze too hard, okay? All right, so we'll ball these up and just portion them out like that, okay? So that one's 52. So we'll just take some off. We want it underneath, so 46, 45, it's all right. So that's how you work with these things. Or you could just eyeball them. They don't have to be perfect. Okay, that one's a little heavy-handed over here. Okay. So the excess I hold in my hand and I add it to a smaller size. So this one's good. This one's good. Okay. That one's good. All right, so I'll keep doing that. All right, so I kind of bowl them into rough balls, and I'm just going to clean my station down. I'm always have good mise en place. Okay. You know what, this flour I'm just going to put to the side. Okay. So while your hand's still lightly floured, okay, get these guys here, and I'm going to show you that I kind of pinched off pieces and added them, and then I'm going to perfectly ball them up. Okay, so we'll just try a few here. So you'll see they're roughly about the same. That one's 51, 49, 49, 49, and so on and so forth. 48. So you want them all to be around that same size. Okay, so get rid of this little scale here. So now we're gonna kind of ball it up like we do like a little mozzarella dough. So mozzarella ball. So you don't want too much flour in your hands. Okay, so you want to work from one side to the left or left to right, depending on if you. And use the palm of your hand. Try to just ball them up a little bit. Okay, and we'll put them off to the side. Okay, just make little balls like that. Okay. If you find that it's a little dry, just like do one of these things, like fold it in on itself, and then you could do that thing with your palm where you're kind of rolling. It's a technique that you do use for making like little dinner rolls and stuff like that. So you get a nice little ball, you go a little faster. You know, this is what I have here is a baker's table. Okay, so it's made for like bread, stuff like that. So it's gonna stick a little, but it's not gonna get stuck. But if you had like marble or some kind of a granite countertop, you know, it would be a little better. But sometimes the flour is a pain to get off of that. So this one's a little dry, so I'm gonna pull it and just you see that gluten that worked up? Look at it stretching nice, okay? So, okay, now I'm gonna roll these up. I'll do a couple more, all right? But I wish I had a camera underneath the table, so you wanna like have this here, and almost like you're kind of in a circular motion, like this is what's happening from the other side, okay? Almost if you know Benoit balls, how they can't touch, you get like that kind of thing, all right? So the same idea goes, like just like everything in the universe, it rounds out in the end, okay? So use that centripetal force or centripetal, whatever it is. Okay, and I'll finish these up, okay, and I'll come back in a sec. All right, so I got my last one here. I got them all rolled up nicely. Okay, just remember that centripetal force, just round and round. You can kind of drag it down on the board a little bit, or bench. That's what they call it in culinary terms sometimes. And just same thing. If you ever made a meatball, just be gentle. Don't push too hard because we don't want to, you know, make it like a crispy. We want it to rise. Okay, so get either a towel or a wet paper towel and get it some warm water and wring it out. All right. So as with a lot of different pastries and stuff, you want to, as you're working, you want to cover your dough that's waiting to be rolled out with something not completely soaking, but you want to wring out like a side towel. These are called side towels in the kitchen. So I'm just going to drape this lightly over my disco bowls and get ready to start showing you how to roll them out. Okay. One final thing, real quick. If you do decide to use the frozen stuff, make sure you leave it out for at least an hour or so, or best to let it defrost in your fridge overnight, because like I said, sometimes these get freezer burned, and even this one looks kind of a little bit freezer burned if you look closely, and sometimes these edges, they can kind of get like really funky when you defrost them and they get too crunchy, and sometimes when I show you how to seal them, they won't really seal. Okay, but if you use these, definitely make sure they're not freezer burned and that you leave them overnight, okay, to thaw in the refrigerator, sorry. Okay, so now I'm gonna take my dowel, my little thing, just flour it up a little bit because I don't want to add too much flour, okay? Get that ready right there. Get myself my little water here just to seal the edges. Okay, I'll keep it to the side. And then my filling, remember this guy? Okay, he's nice and cool, and we're gonna portion it out using a black handle scooper. It's about 1.5 ounces. You could just use a heaping tablespoon. It'd be just as good. You don't have to go out in the store and buy these special materials, guys. You could use what you have at home, okay? So, and for my vegetarian friends out there, I just threw together, I had some sweet potatoes left. I roasted in the oven with a little oil, added a bit of fresh oregano, cilantro, and mint from my yard, some Parmigiano Reggiano, a little chipotle powder in there, and some salt and fresh ground pepper. All right. So I'm just going to mix this up. Actually, I forgot to tell you guys, I put feta cheese in here. That's that white cheese. And, you know, you can play around with this recipe. I know a lot of you guys will in the future. And, you know, once you get empanadas done, you can do them any way you want, sweet, savory, whatever. So I'm going to put this aside. Looks really good. All right. All right, so let's start to roll these guys out. So every time you take one out, remember to put that moist towel right back down. Okay, you don't want to dry these out. All right. So just a little sprinkling. Remember how we throw it across like a baker does? Make sure the dowel is floured up. And we're gonna go with this kind of dowel. You're not pushing down with too much heavy force. You want to try to kind of let the weight of the dowel do the work, and you're gonna roll from the inside out. So you're gonna kind of go like this. All right. You're not gonna go and pound it down. You just want to lightly go like that. Work your way out from the center, and then gently apply more pressure as needed. Okay, You can move it like that or flip it around, make sure it's not sticking. Okay, you see how we're almost getting that little shape, so move it as needed. All right. Okay, if it starts to stick like that, put a little more flour. Okay. All right. So we're going to apply a little more pressure and just keep flipping it like this. Work from the inside out. Okay. Until you get that shape. You want it to be about the size of a disco. You can even pick it up in your hands and kind of do it like this. Okay. All right. Kind of stretch it out a little bit with your hands. You could feel with your hand when you slide across where it's thicker and thinner. So right here I can feel it's a little thicker. Here it's thinner. So I'm going to try to work those edges more than the other ones. Okay. So I get nice and even. All right. And it's going to have a little spring back to it because it was, you know, in the refrigerator for about 2 days, developing all that nice gluten and fermenting a little bit, getting that nice flavor. So that's about pretty good right there. All right. So let me do one out here. I'm not going to show you every single one, but I'm just going to show you a few techniques. Okay. So first off, have your water. Okay. So get your water. I'm going to take a fingertip or two and go around the ridge of the disco or your pastry crust here, because this will help to seal it. All right. I will take my filling. I'm going to put not too much because I love a lot of beefy, huge empanadas, but then they get too fat and then they explode and you don't want that to happen. So about like this much or so. Put them right in the middle. Okay. Get in there. Okay. Try to keep all the meat to the center. So you get a clean edge. So you could wrap it over like this. I like to kind of pick it up in my hand like that, pinch it a little bit. The main important thing is to pinch the sides here before you do any kind of design, but get all the air out. So go from one side, pushing and kind of crimping, not really crimping, but that, and then seal it off at the end. So you kind of have like this half moon shape and you kind of work the dough lightly, you know, so you get that shape going. Okay. All right. So this right here, I mean, you could just take a fork and start doing the fork thing. Actually, I'll show you that one first. Okay. So with a fork, let me, ¿dónde está mi tenedor? Okay, so make sure your giant flour thing, dip your fork, if you have a giant flour thing, dip your fork in there just to make it not to stick. And just make sure you go from the side to seal and just kind of rock down. You're not like going like this. You're just applying gentle pressure to seal. Okay. Very nice. Okay. Just down and out. All right. Look at that. It's got some really nice color on that. Okay. So here's our first little empanada, or pastelillo, as you would say in Spanish, or Puerto Rican, I should say. Empanada, pastelillo, pastelitos. If you're Dominican, who knows? Everybody says everything else. So I'm going to put this on my tray. Okay, let me roll out the next one and show you the next style. All right, great. So I made 2 of these. So I want to show you the abuelita style, the way to crimp it to get the fluted edges around the side here like this. Okay, so you make sure it's sealed. We have all the air out. So my technique, a lot of people do it like this and they just do it on the table and they kind of twist it. I find that if you just take your thumb and fold the pastry over your thumb, you get a nice effect. You get that abuelita style, like fluted edges. So kind of just do like one like that and then push down the dough and then just go over it with the next finger. One like right over the other. And as you move it down your hand, just try to, with this hand, try to like kind of crawl it down on the other side so it moves with you. I don't know if that's the appropriate thing. And just twist, kind of do a twist. Twist and then go on the other end, fold it under, and you have a nice one like that there. Okay, let me do that again. All right, or you can just rewind and see it again as well. A lot of people, they like to do this but it doesn't work for me well. I like to hold this in my hand and just like one over the other. Okay, it kind of takes some bit of time and technique. Once you master this, it's nice for like calzones even, or other pastries. Okay, just kind of braid it down the side. Okay. Okay. So the longer your dough stays out, this one's not as good as the other one, it will kind of get warm. So you can see here it's kind of drooping. So I'm going to put these guys off to the side and finish up the rest. Okay. All right, so one more time for old time's sake. Okay, and just pinch it together. Try to get the edges nice and even. Okay, try to meet them up in the middle. And you can kind of fix your mess. Make sure you get the air out. Okay, it's not even on camera. Sorry about that. So go like that. Almost like a little ravioli. Okay. I'll do the abuelita style one more time. It's easier with a smaller one. So just right over just over the finger, over the finger, over the finger, over. Sorry, I keep bringing it out of frame. Over, and then one final one underneath. Okay. So there it is right there. You can even put it ups like that. The Bolivian style is called a salteña, which they have ups like this, and it's much bigger. And it's almost like a stew inside, and it kind of, you gotta be careful when you eat it, because if you bite into it, it kind of like explodes all over the place. I learned that the hard way. All right. So let me finish up the rest of these. I'll do a few vegetarian ones. We'll throw them in the oven. So most importantly, if you're doing it this way and baking them and not doing them with the discos and not frying them, you want to get yourself a little egg wash. This is just egg yolks. You can see how golden it looks in the light. Like you get some proper lighting in here. All right, so you want to get a good amount of this on there and have it get really nice and brown. Okay, make sure you get every little nook and cranny, just like we did with the garlic knots. Okay. Okay. Try not to get too much on the paper, because it will stick to the parchment. Or if you have a sheet tray sprayed with Pam, you could do it like that as well. Okay. There's a little herb there, whatever that is. Okay. Let's get these guys nice. This one is definitely too stuffed. You want them about this size here. These are okay. But as the warmer the dough gets, the harder it kind of gets to work with. So you've got to work fast, or the dough is going to get too stretchy. And then when you want to do like the braided look like this, it's going to be a little more difficult. Okay. All right. So I'm going to put these in the oven for about, I don't know, 25 minutes or so. But I'm going to check them every 5 to 10 minutes or so and rotate them, especially if I don't have a convection oven. Some people like to put a little sprinkle of sea salt. You can put other toppings. Yeah, just put just a little bit on top, just to finish. Because sometimes the crust could be a little bland if it has no filling. Okay. All right, so let's just pop these in the oven at 350 for 25 minutes, and we're going to check them every 10 minutes or so and just rotate the pan. Okay, just want to show you guys this tool real quick. This is what they use to make tortillas, tortilla press. I have a few of these. And this is actually a tool. I know that unless you're a tortilla fanatic or you're from a Mexican heritage, you're not going to really have these laying around your house. But this is really good to use for making a ton of these if you don't have the machine. So I just put a little spray some Pam on both sides, or you can put wax paper, or if you had, which I don't have right now, a big 2-gallon Ziploc bag, you could put it like this and use it to flatten. Okay. All right, so make sure you take your ball and can put it like this in the center, a little off center like that. Close it, and just from the weight alone, you don't really press this down. It's very heavy. This is either cast iron or like a steel. It's very heavy, and you just, en Hecho in Mexico, okay, just press it down, but not too much, because you want it to be able to get off. All right, so okay, so that kind of does it like that right there. Maybe stuck a little bit, so and then you just take them off like that, and you'll get nice rounds like this, and you can just keep doing them over and over again. The better way is definitely with the Ziploc bags, which I do not have. Let me try to get one. All right, so just one more, and just give it a good press down. Hey, and see it coming out the side here. Just lift this, kind of flip it to the other side like that. No luck with me finding any of those Ziploc bags. All right. All right, there you go. So you have, almost looks like machine made, okay? And you can assemble these all down a row and just knock them out really fast, okay? All right. I almost forgot the filling for my vegetarian one, and you could do so many different kinds. You can do the goat cheese and black bean. You can do other vegetables. You can go, I mean, the sky's the limit. So just a little bit, about that much. Put them in the middle, right there. And make sure if your friends are vegetarian that the fingers you were using to dip in the water to make the meat ones, you change the water, clean your fingers. Respect the fact that they don't eat meat. Okay, to each his own. Okay, so I'll get this in there. This disc came out much better. It's nice and round. All right, make sure you get it, meet up those edges. Okay, make sure you get that air out. Okay, I like to do this too sometimes. You kind of make like a C shape with your hand and kind of do like that, almost like a little pierogi kind of thing. All right, then we'll pinch it a little bit. All right, get that seam really tight. All right, and then just one more on the abuelita style. Just, you could actually pull it over if you have a good dough like we have here, and just pull it. Don't worry, you're gonna get this one. See, he likes the vegetarian one. Just pull it over, pull it over, pull it over, pull it over. Okay, I'll put it on a separate sheet with the other ones as we wait. Okay, so let's check the oven, see how these guys are doing. So these guys are at about 10 minutes or so, so I would say another 10, 11. You see they puffed up nicely, but they don't have enough color on them. All right, let's check back in a minute. All right, these guys are fresh out the oven, so they look really nice. We got some nice color on them. Maybe a little more egg wash on my part. I'll do that with my next batch that I have here. So you want to take these and let them cool underneath, especially if you bake them. If you fry them, you know, you're going to put them on like a, you know, some paper towel or some other towels. So I got my kitchen hands. I'm just going to move them over here because I don't want them to stick. And I want them to cool for a second before I eat them. And I want the air to get underneath and not like ruin this little crust that we have here, okay? So don't try this at home. I am supposedly a trained professional. All right, this guy's very hot. Turn to the side. All right, so we'll come back to these guys in about 2 minutes. Cut one open, see how they look, and I'm gonna pop the vegetarian ones and the other ones in the oven now. All right, so let's check out how these came out. Now they kind of browned up a little more as they stayed out. They're still very warm, but they're very still they're hot to the touch. So let's cut one open and see how they look on the inside. Okay, nice sharp serrated knife because you don't want to push down that nice crust that we built up over these last couple of days. Okay, and there we go. Look at that. You can see the actual bubbling here where the crust kind of got nice and flaky. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh my God. Anyway, I hope you choose to do the dough. It's a pain in the butt. And even the best places that make their own dough, they don't roll it out by hand, but they have a great dough recipe, which I'm going to give to you. Then it's a simple plating idea. Just get a couple of them. Put them like that. Oh, it's a nice little dish. Whatever which way you want to put it, like that. Get another one like that. And of course, copious amounts of cilantro if you want for a little garnish. Okay. Plus hot sauce recommendations for this. Okay. Let's put this guy over here to the side. Put this guy over here. You want to, my favorite, so I mean I like sriracha, who doesn't? I mean it's just strong, it's kind of overpowering for this. And Cholula Chipotle goes really good. I like that one, but you're better off getting a gallon of this stuff. This is the good stuff. And just kind of go to town. There you go. There you go. Okay. I don't think that's enough to you. All right, let's check this bad boy out. Sorry for that abrupt edit, but I just choked down like a friggin' tablespoon of Valentina hot sauce, but this stuff is really good. It's a good thing it wasn't the muy picante one, which is even spicier. So, you know, check it out, whatever you have at home. Okay, I hope that you play around with this. This is some just regular plating ideas. This is just a cast iron little mini skillet. It's a cute little presentation. I got the vegetarian ones in the oven. I'm going to pull those out and just show you the cross section of that. But I'm not going to douse in all this Valentina though. Okay, so last but not least, nice little vegetarian beauties. I made a few of them, even for my boys. And even if you're doing other pastries and stuff, you can make a little leaf, just so you know when you're serving these, which one is vegetarian, which one is not. They do that with like vegetarian pot pies, vegetarian Wellingtons, things like that. So let's get these other two over here. We'll plate these up just like we did the others. Okay, put them nice in a little whatchamacallit thing. I'm not going to douse this with a ton of Valentina hot sauce. But well, the crust really came out nice on these. So just let the knife do the work, okay? And we'll look at that cross section. Well, look at that nice steam and that crust. Let's let the zoom adjust. You can see the crust on the inside. Very nice. All right, now we'll put it on here. Just simply plate it up. You don't have to go too crazy with your plating with empanadas. But, you know, just to give you a little idea. Like that. A couple of these nice, beautiful little Kumato tomatoes around here and there. Left my tweezers in the car. I'm joking, I don't really tweezers for empanadas. It's a little too frou-frou. Just put a little bit more of this. If I had some sour cream, maybe I put some on the side, but most of the time, you know, people like to eat their empanadas naked, if you know what I mean. So you don't want to overdo any garnish that they can't just remove easily. I really don't like it when you go somewhere and they put this crema on top and all that stuff. That's all great and all, but that should be up to me. And that should be up to you. So I really hope you enjoyed this project. And extra kudos and extra props if you actually made the crust. Because the crust is really, really good. All right, guys. Enjoy.